Hi, it's Kate again. Today I'm bringing you an early morning painting session in one of my sketchbooks. I usually get up an hour earlier than I need to fit one of these in before work, and it's supposed to be a quick, relaxed time where I can play around with materials. Fitting art around my full-time job is quite tricky, especially in winter when it's dark in the mornings and the evenings, so apologies in advance for the lighting in this video. I'm hoping to do more of these this year as part of a daily practice to really progress my art. So this is the sketchbook I'll be using, and I'm giving you a quick sneak peek at some previous sketches that I've done. As you can see, they are very loose, and this book is all about playing with colour, texture and mark making. It's less about composition, although I do keep it in mind a bit, and these sketches then go on to informing more formal pieces of work. I'm starting off today with Neocolor II crayons and blocking in this black. I'm not thinking too hard about where I'm putting the marks, just intuitively moving across the page to create a sort of horizon line. I then move on to the beige shade and I'm just blocking in colour here. I've picked a very limited palette of colour to play with, and I'll list out the materials I've used in the description box below. So once the crayons are down, I then wash over the sections with water, and this forms the base of the sketch. I'm now going back in with Neocolor IIs and some Derwent Inktense pencils, thinking about marks I want to make to suggest movement. After messing that up a bit, as I applied the Inktense pencils too soon to wet paper, I won't be doing that again, because the marks just stay there. If you apply them to wet paper, you can't budge them around because the pencil sort of immediately turns to ink. So I've learnt my lesson with that, but now I'm applying gouache directly to the paper, and I've used a white and an ochre shade. I'm using my palette knife to play around with the gouache, scratching into it and pushing it around the paper to build up texture. I love the contrast of thicker areas of paint against washier areas. After I've played about with the palette knife for a while, I then go back in with a dryish brush to soften and blend some of the edges. It's all about contrast for me here, so soft edges against hard edges and thick paint against thin washes. So this is the part where the sketch really comes together for me. So I've applied a thick blob of white gouache to the paper, and then I drop in a single drop of burnt sienna acrylic ink to try and get some of that salmon pink back. I smush it around with my brush and palette knife, and yeah, this is just where I'm feeling a bit happier and the palette is really coming together now. So I play about a bit more, alternating between brush and palette knife until I'm quite happy with the feel of the piece. So now we are back later in the afternoon. It's my lunch break, so the paint has completely dried and now I'm going to apply marks over the top using dry materials, my Neocolor IIs, Derwent Inktense pencils and a Sennelier Oil Pastel. I wanted to darken the warm grey area in the top left, so I started there with the beige Neocolor II and did use a slightly damp brush to blend it in. I like using repetitive marks, so with the black Neocolor II, I used a series of small vertical lines to sort of stitch the horizon back together. I love doing that, stitching pieces of the composition back together with repetitive marks. So I've added a few more scribbles and marks in, and I'm quite happy with it now. I like the palette, the texture I've built up, the mark making, and these will certainly go on to inform a piece in the future. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed seeing me work in my sketchbook, and if you have any questions, just let me know in the comments.